So we are live.
Great.
Welcome,
everyone.
Hey, guys.
Hey, I am Coach Kate, and I am joined by Coach Jennifer C. and Dave. Say hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello. Excited to be here.
Yeah, me too. It's going to be awesome.
I am very excited to be here. It is going to be a spectacular evening. So inspirational. For those of you who joined us last week with Joelle and Jeff, it was certainly a sensational night. And while we do typically have two guests, not to minimize the guests before, tonight we have Dave. And Dave is a standalone, and Dave is enough. Mm-hmm. Now, Dave, you might have gotten a sense in my meeting with you earlier that I am amidst your fan club.
Well, thank you. I didn't know I had a fan club, but you know.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you know you had a fan club? Because I think it's growing.
I didn't. I've had people contact me going, "Oh, I saw your post," and they're like, "Wow, it's so inspirational." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool."
Yes. Yeah, it's growing.
You will see tonight that you do. Perhaps I'm an officer, but I'm not the only officer. And it's just so amazing to be with you guys tonight. And if you have been on the Diet Community site, you may have followed Dave's journey. Mm-hmm. And Dave, you have shared with us your humor, you have shared pictures, you have shared recipes, inspirational quotes and words. And we are just so excited to have you tonight. And certainly Dave is going to share much more of his story, but just to share a very brief overview, Dave joined us at 524 pounds. And at least when you and I spoke earlier this week, you were down 313.6 pounds.
Yeah, because every 10th of a pound counts, right?
Absolutely.
We all know that. Everyone in the program knows that.
Counts.
Yes. Yes.
And Dave is down 313.6 pounds.
Now plus 8 pounds on top of me.
But yes. Yeah. And I don't know about you guys, but this has been such a highly anticipated guest. Dave, you've been kind of you've been mentioned in many of the live events, and we've been like,
yeah, I've noticed that. I was kind of surprised.
Be ready, Dave. We're going to be coming for you. And so I know many folks are really excited to hear your story and your journey. And I know many folks were already posting how excited they were to hear, because they love your posts. So let's go ahead. And Kate, do we have some folks joining us?
Yeah, we have many people joining us. We have Danita, we have Tracy, we have Barbara, Susan, who joins us week after week, my fellow gal from Massachusetts. I love it.
Yes.
Deb is watching. We have Kelly. Dave, I know that you had mentioned earlier, if you could inspire one person, this would be worth your time. And we have Jessica, who is a newbie. And she also had a chance to watch last week. So we're so happy to have you, Jessica.
Welcome back, Jessica.
Yeah, welcome. And we have our Jennifer, she's on. And I know we have many folks who are just already tuning in and talking about how inspiring you are, and can't wait to hear your story. So let's go ahead and dive on in. And so definitely want to recap what life was like before HMR for you, Dave, in terms of your weight and what you had that really pushed you to decide to join HMR and really get serious about losing weight. And I know the other day when we were talking and getting an opportunity to get to know you even better, you were really strong in your why. Like, you had your why. And so as you guys are hearing Dave go through some of the initial things that prompted him to join HMR, share your why, like what really got you going and got you started. And Dave, while you're going, I'm going to go ahead and share your before picture so folks can get a sense of, as you're recapping, also put a picture to it. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, but you can go ahead and recap kind of the initial things that really got you going and got you started with HMR.
Well, there's a couple, my wife's kind of a compound. I mean, for a lot of people, I'm sure that's true. A couple reasons, but one of the main reasons was I had a kind of like a a health scare a couple years ago, and I had some extreme swelling in my legs. I was at 524 pounds. You'll see on the screen my picture
Mhm.
there that I was. That was day one of HMR,
Mhm.
and I don't even recognize myself in that. I it's weird how as you're gaining weight, you never really notice the change, the slow change over the years, and you're getting heavier and heavier and
Mhm.
heavier, and you don't really, it doesn't really click in your brain that you're really heavy until people start, saying it, and little kids and stuff because they're innocent, they don't know not to or whatever. But
Mhm.
um I had a health scare because it had some extreme swelling in my legs, had really severe back pain. I couldn't stand for more than 8 minutes without leaning on something, because it would just, the pressure and the lower back would just get too much. And so I'm looking online at symptoms and stuff, and swelling, it's one of the key signs for cardiac failure, and
Yeah. Yeah.
or chronic heart failure, I guess it's called. But
Wow.
and it just kind of, I was like, holy crap! And then still didn't do anything at that moment. It was like a month later, I finally said, okay, I really got to do something. So I went and saw a cardiologist, and it turns out all I needed was a water pill and a new blood pressure medicine, and I felt like I dodged a bullet. But
Mhm.
at the same time, I also, it kind of come to the conclusion I really had to do something. And
Yeah.
I had looked into a couple different programs before, maybe a year or two before,
Mhm.
and one of them was the HMR program in New Albany, Indiana, and just because it happened to be right near the allergist that I was seeing back then. And
Mhm.
then the other one was associated with one of the hospitals over in Louisville, and I went first to the program over in Louisville back then originally, and the doctor said that 80% of the people who lose all their weight, who were morbidly obese and lose all their weight, gain it all back and more. And that kind, and it just kind of hit me as, wow, you're not a really good salesperson, but this is why doctors should not be salespeople.
Yeah. Not very hopeful, right?
Not
Like,
very
well,
helpful
why
at
should I
all.
do this?
The
Yeah.
other thing I didn't like about their program is it was medication based more than anything. It wasn't
Mhm.
really focused on the diet, although they said that was somewhat.
Mhm.
It was a lot more focused on the medication, and I had been down that route because I've done everything under the sun in the past.
Mhm.
Uh, as far as diets goes, I mean, I did back fen back in the day in my early 20s, when I had problems with that stuff. And then phentermine, which was the half of the fen. But there's, and I've done Weight Watchers and a couple others. And oops, I'm not supposed to say competition names.
Yeah.
Sorry,
They're out there. They're out there.
they are out
So,
there.
yeah.
But
And
So,
Dave, so many of
none
our
of them.
participants say, I've tried 10, 15,
Yeah,
20
yeah.
diets. I wanted just to pause you for a minute because I want you to know that you are getting so many shout outs. David,
Mhm.
this is amazing. Wow, from Central Wisconsin. Amazing. Great job. Wow, wow, wow. Jessica joked, are you run into walls and doors not realizing you're as big as you are?
uh,
Then with the funny emoji. And then I
actually,
wanted
that
just
that
to quickly
happens.
point out Jenny's, the change isn't just his appearance, it's mental, physical, and emotional too. He's had many chances with the weight loss. Like basically, your whole future is different because of your
Mhm.
results beyond
Yes,
just the number on the scale. So I thought these
that's my wife, Jenny.
I
comments.
was going to say, it sounds like you know Jenny, or
Yep,
she knows you. I was going
yep.
to ask if that was your wife. Yeah. And one thing, Dave, I wanted to just, I know you said it was okay for us to share a lot of what you mentioned to us the other night when we spoke. And
Mhm.
one of the big things that stood out to me that had you, I think, realizing that, hey, I need to do something. Do you mind to go back to the snowstorm, the ice storm,
Oh
when you
yeah, we
were,
had we had like
yeah.
a ice storm, so it was solid ice everywhere, and I had to take something as simple as taking the trash to the curb, and
Mm-hmm.
I was being very careful because I've always been a klutz,
Mm-hmm.
and something about my family on my father's side, our ankles have really shallow ankle bones, so if you tend to step slightly off center,
Okay.
your ankle just rolls out of socket. It hurts like a, really
Yeah.
for a brief second, and you usually almost always fall to the ground when that happens, and then the pain just goes away as it snaps right back in. But that happened to me, and it slipped, and my ankle rolled out. Here I am on the ground, and at 524 pounds, there was no one around at all. It's the middle of the day, and here I am trying to get myself back up, and I can't get on my knees because it's just killing me every time I put any pressure on my knees. And I'm trying to pull myself up on a trash can that's sliding on ice, and it took me maybe 10 to 15 minutes to get back up on my feet. And yeah, that was one of the other things that kind of set me off to like, really, I need to do something about this finally.
An eye-opening. Yeah.
Very eye-opening.
And so what about the HMR, since you had heard about different programs, what kind of drew you in and decided this is it? This is what I'm going to do?
Well, so like I said, I went to that one other one. And at this point, when I did go to the HMR office, I was just actually at the point where I was just, you know what? It doesn't matter what they have me do. I just need to do it. Whatever they tell me, stick to it and do the best I can and pray to God this works this time. And I went in and talked to them about it. And I went in the mindset because I kind of thought it was going to be like a liquid diet thing.
Right.
I don't know where I got that from, but although there is the shakes only plans that some centers are doing. And I did go in a decision free, but our decision free was, entrees and shakes at New Albany, which I'm glad for because I know Asheen had done, hello Asheen, I know you had done all shakes.
I think he's on
I
here.
I don't know how he could have. I don't know how he did that. That man impresses me. I love the shakes. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think I could do only just the shakes. But
it's nice to eat.
But I went in and I was surprised at the entrees, and so I went home with the food and I tried my first entree and I was like, wow, this is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And I am like the microwave king, so. And my wife.
So this was a program made for you, and so I know we have so many folks commenting and who are on and tuning in, and I know sometimes Kate, you and I, we've heard this time and time again, it's almost like you get to the point where it's like, I'm surrendering, like you guys have been around for over 30 years, I'm just going to embrace this program and trust that what you guys tell me to do is what I'm going to do. And you did it. And I know that for so many folks who are getting started, and actually before we dive into that, let's see, I know Kate, do you have any other comments?
Yeah, I mean, when Dave, you were sharing your why, it just seems like a lot of other people could just totally resonate. We have John F on here, and John, you've been with us so many weeks, and he just wrote, my health, my kids, my grandkids, I want to be there for them. This program is incredible. I'm the guy that meets people on the trail and they say, you're the guy that has lost weight after 217 pounds. I feel fantastic. Yeah. So we have people on here just right there with you. Susan mentioned that there was a trauma going on in the other direction on the scale. I think she meant something else. I needed a drastic change to turn things around. So people have that aha moment, and a lot of people are right there with you. You did mention to us that you were all in. You used that phrase when I started the program. I was all in.
Yeah, and I saw Jennifer, which she's a regular, and she was mentioning how when she started the program, she was over 500 pounds. And as you can imagine, Dave, you've been in, their shoes, like you've been there just getting started. And for so many folks, just getting started can be overwhelming and just really tough to think, oh my gosh, I have so far to go. Am I ever going to get there? Especially if I've never been successful before. Right. How is this going to be different? And so as you joined the program, I know Kate mentioned, you've mentioned you were all in. But I know that a lot of times when folks they start hearing some of our concepts, and it's almost like, what are they talking about? So initially, let's kind of hear what you are thinking about some of the program concepts. So for example, your thoughts on more is better, potentially physical activity, some of the things that we were, you were getting into, what were some of your initial thoughts? Because I'm sure
Listen,
many people feel this way too.
well, they obviously told me, minimum PA is 2,000 calories a week. And so you could try to do that every week. And
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, I'm not even sure I'm going to be doing 100 calories PA, at this
Mm-hmm.
point, because I just can't. I just can't.
Yeah.
Um, and, and I even said that out loud. And at least in the class, this is my first diet
Mm-hmm.
coach, said, you know, it's okay, just focus on the diet. But when you're able to do stuff, try to do it. Let's try to come up with some things you can do, maybe even exercises you can do just sitting down in a chair or something,
Yeah. Yeah.
or whatever. And I tried some of that. And then what really did it for me was, as I started losing weight, lost the first 50 pounds or so, it got a little bit easier to move around. The back pressure wasn't as
Mm-hmm.
bad, but I still had pain after a while. But the time period of how long I could stand got a little longer. And so I
Mm-hmm.
started going to the grocery store and pushing a cart and leaning on the cart because that's
Yeah.
what I could do.
Right.
Not because I
Yeah.
need to buy anything, just because of that. But my wife benefited because she knew what all the clearance stuff was,
Right.
because
Right.
I
Yeah.
was there.
It's like almost, yeah, encourage, like getting started where you are. And at first, I know you didn't necessarily do a lot of the physical activity, but you did what you could
Right.
at that time. And then you worked your way up, which we're going to get to here in a second. So,
Jen, I wanted just to point out, Marcia made a great comment. More is better is absolutely against any of my beliefs, confirmed over 64 years or so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
So
Dave, say more about that.
So that's kind of ingrained in all of us. It's been from the get-go. All we've heard in every other program is cut, 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 cut.
Mm-hmm.
And while that is a good thing, if it to a degree, usually it involves cutting too much, and then you go the opposite direction. Your body pretty much says, "Oh, you're trying to kill yourself. So let me go into starvation mode, and I'm going to store every single thing you put in your mouth as fat, and then that way it's there to stave off the inevitable collapse of your system." And it's part of your body's built-in system to keep you alive. So,
Right.
yeah, so it's really, but it's against our mentality because of what we've been said all these years.
Mm-hmm.
And I hit a point where I was doing things, and just doing the minimums, kept doing the minimums, kept doing the minimums. But my PA started getting up a little higher because I was now walking a little bit, pushing a cart, and then upgraded to Walmart, going around there, and all that stuff. And longer walks, more PA, and then I started finding my weight loss slowing down, and then I found it occasionally halted, and she goes, "Well, what are you having?" And I said, "The 4 shakes and 2 entrees, and oh, okay. And how much PA are you doing?" She goes, "Oh, well, okay. Let me show you the numbers here, what this really looks like calorie wise, and why most likely it is." And she goes, "Now this is why you need to do more is better, because you need to bring this number that's too low, and the amount how much calories you're eating, up a little higher by adding just a shake a day or an entree a day, and preferably a shake," she said, "but a shake or entree, and then let's do that for like a week or two and see how
it goes. Yeah.
scale reflects it."
Run that experiment.
Next week, boom,
Yeah.
weight loss back the way it was, and it was just like instantaneous, and it's just counterintuitive. But ever since then, I was just like, I'm sold.
It works, right? Yeah. And another aspect of, I think, was just right from the beginning, how trusting you were of the program, and you really leaned into your coaches, whether it was Elise or Chuck, or you just leaned into the program and did what they said. And with the more is better, I know time and time again, it doesn't make sense, but it always works. And you're fueling your body, you're filling up on the good things, what we need. And so it really does work. And it's amazing how we can get, folks are so skeptical, but then once they're in, they're like, you gotta do it. You have to do the more is better, because it absolutely works. And
Jen, we have Kristen on here who said, "I had 5 entrees and 3 shakes today. More is better. I'm down 40 pounds. And Jen and Dave, both of you spoke about fueling your body and getting that nutrition. And then beyond that, of course, we want to sustain the behaviors over time. And if we're hungry, all bets are off. And
Yeah.
I
Right.
think
Because
that it's
you're not going to
easy
stick to anything if you're hungry.
of course not.
You're
And
going
it's
to be
just
like,
easy
grab
to,
something.
of course, and it's easy to say, well, I'm going to stick to the minimums and
Right.
I'm not
Because
going to
that's
eat
what I'm
something
supposed
else.
to do. Yeah.
And I'm not going to eat something else.
Mhm.
So the notion of having something extra, it's going to be, we are going to get hungry. And so to have something extra versus something off of the diet. And then you run the experiment and you see that you can still lose such great weight by doing so.
Yeah.
You know, I did low
And
carb
they,
diets before, and the low carb
mhm.
diets, you know, the biggest problem with them is they'll work for a while, right? But it's basically you're cutting out something that you really want to have.
Your
And
energy, like you got to have that
there,
energy to
there are
get through the
no
day.
carb. Well, yeah, no carbs, and
Mhm.
but you're cutting that out, and you can do that for a while, and you can do it for long term if you can stick to it. You know, I applaud you if you can. Eventually, you're going to want to have what I always called a cheat day, and cheat day turned into a cheat, you know, or cheat meal, and then cheat meal turned into cheat day turned into cheat weekend, and then you were just off the bandwagon for a week, and then back on it, and
Right.
yeah, it doesn't end well because the cycle ends, and then what happens right after that is you gain it all back. But in this
Yeah.
program, you know, I was able to stick to it. I used more is better. I
Mhm.
just kept on keeping on.
Mhm.
Um, you had mentioned at the beginning about staying focused through the whole thing and keeping the eye on the prize kind of thing. And I one of the things they work with you in phase one is setting goals, short-term goals, and so forth. I am totally personally against that. It never works
Mhm.
for me, and that's just me. I'm not saying you all shouldn't. I think you should, if it works for you. But for me, I just felt like I had so far to go that all I needed to do is keep my eye on that horizon where I
Take it
wanted to
day
end
by
up,
day. Mhm.
where and one of my other bigger reasons why is when I hit my goal weight, I wanted to get my private pilot's license. So hopefully I would get
Oh.
to do that. But you know, I'm pointing that goal that way and just keep my
Mhm.
eye on that prize and keep working towards it. And I, you know, it to me that just works for me. But that's not
Mhm.
going to be good enough for everyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, everyone has to find kind of what's going to work for them, and um just taking it day by day, because my goodness, you guys, we're almost through April. Like if you just, time goes by, and if you just take it day by day and know that you're working on the behaviors that are really going to help you, doing more is better. And also too, I know, really impressed that the more is better helped you to stay in the box. You were definitely committed to doing that, which is, some folks may be there, some folks may be struggling. So take from Dave and what has really helped him to be successful. If you're not currently doing it, steal it so that you can also see if it's going to be something that works for you. And I had
And
to
just to
say,
be specific on the numbers, Jen,
yeah.
when we met with you, you said, 5 shakes, 3 entrees regularly, no biggie.
Mm-hmm.
Even some days you did 6 shakes and 4 entrees.
Yeah,
So
I
you,
have to say, Chuck is letting your secret out of the bag, Dave.
ooh,
He posted, or he commented on one of your posts. One, it was, just remember that in the end it was you, so I'm sure he's referring to you. You did all the work, and congratulations. And by the way, here's the secret. So you guys listen in. Here's Dave's secret and our secret. Dave's secret to his success in staying in the box was that he practiced more is better. So we were just talking about that.
Yep.
His weekly totals at the time of this post, 40 shakes, 24 entrees,
wow.
7 servings of fruits and vegetables, and 3,000 calories in PA. And this was after you were already down 250
That'd
pounds.
be
So the more is better.
seven servings a day, I think.
You
For
said, no, I think you
for
meant
vegetables.
75,
Yeah.
Jen.
70.
Yeah.
So 70 servings of
Oh,
fruits and vegetables for the
70.
week.
Because I
70.
just peaked 105 servings a week for fruits and vegetables.
Yes. And
But
now
I'm in
look where
phase
you
two
are.
now, and so I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
all new things. So.
New thing, continuing to grow. It's all about that progress. So I want to spend some time about your physical activity, because I don't want to kind of gloss over it at all, because I know at the beginning, like many, you may start and not be able to be very active,
Right.
and that's okay. You do what you can. And I think you mentioned, after about 50 pounds or so, you felt like you You went into a grocery store, a smaller store, and leaned on the cart so you could use that as support to help you. And then gradually you moved up to a Walmart, which we know those are rather large.
Yep.
And then made your way outside. So you just really progressed to your physical activity. And I know Kate and I, we were talking about this earlier. You now have a hard time keeping it below 4,000 calories in PA now.
I do. And honestly, that's a struggle unto itself. It's a whole new problem to have. It's not a bad problem to have, except in the case of if you're still trying to lose weight like I am. If you burn too much and you can't possibly put something else in your system to compensate for it, you go back into that close to that starvation mode, and your body starts fighting you in the weight loss again. So I've had some ups and downs lately. And what's weird now, because I've added in some weight circuits and stuff like that, is the fluctuations can be 6 pounds up and down, and it's crazy. It's just crazy what it is. Whereas before, if I didn't lose weight, I might just no weight loss, right exactly where I was, or I might been 1 pound up or 2 pounds up or whatever, and almost all the time it was something like sinus congestion, fluid kind of
we
thing.
all have those different things that go on that can really impact the scale. But
Steve, I want to talk a little bit more about that, because I know you share with us the ups and downs. Just to quickly summarize a PA point, because certainly we have people who are getting started with us, people who have all different, PA abilities. The thing that's been so impressive about you is that every step of the way you looked at, what can I do? And is it that I can go to the grocery store? I can do 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and build on that. And you had mentioned earlier, chair exercises or chair aerobics. And even if you are doing 5 minutes, and even if you are doing something sitting, it may not be a huge calorie burn, but the resolve that you get from having put in that effort is huge. And it really leads to other positive behaviors, and it snowballs over time.
Yeah, exactly. It builds over time, and it all adds up. And it's, because I keep pushing myself, and I think it's just, you see where you're at, you stay where you're at for a little while, and then you say, well, what if I can just do a little more,
Yeah. You feel more confident to challenge yourself. Yeah.
So Dave, let's talk a little bit about these ups and downs, because you have not only shared some of that on our site, you also have commented to others. And despite your hard work and despite your strong numbers, you have let us know that there are times that you haven't seen the reinforcement on the scale. Right. And you've hung in there, and you have also offered advice and words of wisdom to other people. And wanted you to just take a moment just to share what that's like for you. How have you hung in there, either when the scale hasn't moved or it's been a little up and down? When you shared your chart, of course, we could see over time the weight was down, but there were some ups and downs.
I rounded out the curve that nobody else could last year with COVID stuff. At first, and I think we were talking about this Monday too, at first it was just like any of you guys out there. It's a kick in the pants to be like, oh, I've done everything right. Why am I not losing weight? This program must not work. You have all these thoughts. That's not it at all. It's your body just doesn't realize it's weigh-in day, or your body, or maybe you did a little more PA, so you've actually, I don't know, developed a little bit of muscle. And so, your body, when it does that, it's breaking down the muscle tissue and reforming. It's, holding on to lactic acid and fluid in your muscle tissue, and all the stuff that happens in your body that we don't think about normally. And so your body's just shifting. And so and then you may even not have lost a pound, but you may have lost a couple inches too. So because sometimes it's just like things mold and reshape. And it's really weird. It's just really weird. It's but so now though, and I'll admit, recently when I hit the plus 6 pounds from 1 week to the next, I said to myself, I've been down this road before, not this extreme, but this is ridiculous. And then I said, well, but I did just do a really killer walk on Sunday and did do a bunch of weights the day before that. So
Yeah.
Sounds like you
that's
talk to
probably what it was.
yourself.
Yeah.
Like you kind of, okay, so there could be other things going on, and it sounds like you kind of really encourage yourself just to keep on going, because you know that it works, it has worked, and when
Well,
you keep going, it tends to work.
you also listen to the people in the class who've been
Hmm.
down the same road.
Right.
You know, not many people have had, fortunately for them, the length of journey and the amount of weight to lose that I
Yeah.
did. Um, but they've been through a similar journey for weight loss, and they've been, some of them are ahead of the program, some are behind me in the program.
Hmm.
Um, but you know, we've all had experiences, and we can all learn from each other. And I've listened
Yeah.
closely to what other people have shared with it
Yeah.
and what they did and what the diet coaches had them do and stuff. And it that kind of helps, and you just kind of keep that in the back of your mind and
Hmm.
to
So one
reaffirm.
thing I wanted to say about that is that you hung in there through some of those little blips on the scale, and you did see things turn around,
Yep.
and you were able to look at the bigger picture and know you were doing behaviors that produce positive results over time. So not to focus on, what does it say just this Thursday, but kind of the bigger picture. And then I will
Hmm.
also say there might be folks who are watching, there are folks who are watching who are facing some challenges on the diet. And sometimes the scale is not rewarding us, and we have some next steps that we can take. And the good news is that you are here and you are listening for some next steps. I wanted to highlight something that Coach Sandy, who's moderating, shared, that folks are very curious how you kept from getting bored on the diet, because you were able to sustain the behaviors over time. And so those of you who watched last week saw Jeff and Joelle, and
Yep.
they had named their test kitchen. And
Yeah.
every week they were in that kitchen and trying new things. They even got me to put cauliflower in my shake last Thursday night. However, Dave, you had shared with us that your approach was a little bit different, that you were keeping it simple. So
Hmm.
I would love for you to spend some time telling our audience, how did you keep things from getting boring? What were some of your tried and truths?
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm a simple guy, a simple man with simple tastes, and it really, I can get into literally eating the same thing in the same sequence if I need to, without an issue. For me, it makes it easier and simpler, though, to do that. You
Hmm.
know, that it is
Right.
a structure. It's one of the things I love about HMR is the structure.
Hmm.
But right off the bat, we were talking, week to week about, well, there's kernel seasons, seasoned salts that have different flavors. One of
Hmm.
them was bacon cheddar. Is it bacon?
Yeah.
Bacon cheddar flavor? I'm in. Okay.
Sold.
And stuff like that. And um, because one of the things I think it's key is know what your food triggers are, what you really like,
Hmm.
and we all really know what our favorite foods are. And there are
Hmm.
ways with the HMR entrees and this right low calorie additives. And granted, seasoned salts, some of you need to limit it, what it is for either heart reasons or just because. Um,
Hmm.
for some reason, my doctors told me because my sodium levels are really low and I had to add sodium. So
Oh, wow.
I was weird. So for me, it was liberal amounts. But uh, the, you add a few additives like the PB2
Hmm.
peanut butter. Chocolate
Yeah.
and peanut butter, that's me. I was a Nutty Bar
PB2.
guy. My Nutty Bar now are in liquid form or slightly frozen liquid form.
Hmm.
Uh, with a shake, and it tastes great.
That's
So
great.
you add the right additives. There's the Jordan Skinny syrups,
Hmm.
Tarani, and a whole slew of brands I've just discovered recently have cropped up.
Yeah.
These skinny syrups, they're 0 calories, and you can add them into your shakes and whatever. And you know, heck, you can use the Colonel Seasons little sprinkle on your vegetables too to give it a little
Hmm.
flavor. If you're not really fond of the flavor of vegetables, I will tell you that I hated fruits and vegetables before this program.
Wow.
But
Hmm.
after doing this program for, I'm trying to think, that's what is it, 2.5 years? It'll be 3 years in September. Um,
Hmm.
it, you know, I hated fruits and vegetables, and I just started mid-year last year in phase one healthy solutions after doing decision free for so long, and I only did that because I actually hit one of those stalling points at weight, and also the rest of my class was all healthy solutions because they didn't have decision free there, and I kind of peer pressured into it. But I finally said, you know what, I'll give it a try. I don't like vegetables, but I'll try it. And I tried it, and I went, oh wow, this actually tastes good. And I
Yeah.
found a lot of my tastes and a lot of the preconceptions that I had from probably all the way back to childhood
Right.
Wow.
were just wrong, and
Mm-hmm.
or being so long being in the box and decision free led to my taste buds and my brain kind of realigning or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
Dave, tell us what you were joking you were going to name your podcast.
oh yeah, I said I'm going to do a podcast, and it's going to be HMR Gourmet Cooking with Dave Erickson, and tonight we're going to be talking about boiling water, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, so you don't have to be like overthink it or a culinary, expert.
Yeah,
You
I'm
can just
definitely
use
not a
different
culinary.
seasonings.
I'm
I
just
keep
learning
these
how to
on my
cook.
desk. This is a Flavor God buttery cinnamon roll.
Oh, that's my
There you
favorite.
go.
I love that.
Take
Yeah.
it in my my cereal. Of course, many people are familiar with our sugar-free Jello puddings.
Of
Yep,
course.
I
Gotta
got
have
them.
those.
And I would love the audience to take a moment if you have made something this past week that you are just loving to share it with people. But just in getting to know you, Dave, it's crystal clear that you can keep things simple, but yet
Yes.
really, really delicious.
Yeah.
Apples and the HMR 70 chocolate with PB2 and Jordan Skinny's syrup salted caramel.
That's good.
Oh,
Good.
At
Yeah.
some reason, salted caramel with PB2 and chocolate tastes like real peanut butter with chocolate.
so
To me.
good.
Yeah, and you don't have to punish yourself and avoid the flavors that you like. You can just
Mhm.
find the flavors that you like in a lower calorie and really create them in a shake or in your cereal. So it's good to have you enjoying them. And we have people who I think are definitely jotting down some notes with some of your spices. And so just to recap, you guys, if you're just joining us, we have Dave finally on a live event. We've been kind of trickling in him that we're going to have him, and he's been posting and commenting, but here he is. So we have him and talking about his journey. And so just to, this is one of my very favorite pictures, Dave, that you shared, and it's your collage of like pictures throughout your whole entire journey. So I definitely want to share that with you, and make sure, Dave, when we wrap up tonight, that you go back through and look at these comments, because there's lots and lots of people who are already inspired, can definitely relate to where you are, where you were. And so I'm getting goosebumps. It's just so exciting to hear. And I'm just happy that you're here with us. But let me share before we dive into our next kind of wrapping up tonight. I mean, we still have a little bit. We're not going to rush you off, of course, but I just want to share this collage of your journey. And when I saw this, like you said, you don't even recognize yourself.
Yeah,
like some of the before pictures, I'm like, gosh, if I wouldn't have not recognized you with these. So let me move us out of the way a little bit.
Wow.
So just so many, and you can see just in your facial expressions and your eyes, like just your whole journey. So from 524 pounds down to 210.4. So losing 313.6 pounds. And I love that you've really just documented your whole journey. And this is why we're here and why we do what we do. So you're getting lots of loves and lots of acknowledgement. And I have to say, I know Kate and I, we are definitely in your fan club. There's other folks too in your fan club. And I definitely don't think that we could recap your weight loss journey and your experience. It wouldn't be complete without bringing on a surprise guest that has really been impacted by you in your journey. And I think just through this community, you all have gotten to be closer. Any guesses? Any guesses on who's it behind door number 2?
I'm guessing O'Sheen, but I hope I'm not wrong.
You hope you're not wrong. Well, you have a lot. I know Shane was just mentioning how excited he was to meet you actually in person.
Yeah.
You all must have had a class or something together. But let me go ahead and let our surprise guest.
Well, we haven't met in person
Let's,
yet, I don't think.
no?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, maybe.
Not yet. Hopefully
Not
soon.
yet. Soon.
Things
So
get
let's see
busy.
if you were right, Dave.
Yeah.
Who is the surprise guest behind door number 2?
Joining the fan club.
There he is.
Hello.
Awesome.
Love it.
Awesome.
Welcome.
Thank you. Hello. Nice
How are
to
you?
finally see you in person.
Yeah.
Same here. I have not had the pleasure of Shane. Please. I know I'm butchering your name because I'm
It's
excited.
okay. O'Sheen.
Sheen. Okay,
Yes.
I'm sorry. I've watched from afar and watched your live videos with Coach Gina and Rick, and just to be on with you is so exciting, and to have Dave, it's just the icing on the cake. So, do you mind to share kind of how Dave has inspired you? And now you guys, I think you all are friends. Through this.
We are. I feel like I've known Dave for a lifetime because we
Mm.
share a lot of the same struggles and a lot of the same pain. And when they asked me to do this, Dave, I was like, Dave is too nice of a guy and too humble, so there's no way I'm not going to get up here and give him all of his roses tonight. So I got to know Dave just from the community, and when I first started, my coach Gina, as incredible as she is, the first couple of weeks, I felt disillusioned in the sense that you're just angry at yourself. You're not happy with yourself. You want to blame everything else except for looking in the mirror and acknowledging that you have to take some responsibility. So right away in my first or second class, I really connected with somebody actually in my Natick office who had and I don't want to give his name just because, I want to respect him and he's not on here, but he lost a significant amount of weight as well, 150 pounds. So that first day I made a real connection with somebody I felt had a tremendous amount of weight to lose. And the day I actually saw Dave's first post on the forums and everything like that was a really, really hard day for me. It was like 10 months in. And as Dave said, for the first 12 months of my progress, I only did the shakes, like a robot, and willpower.
I don't know how you did it, man.
I mean, I wanted to do it quickly.
It wasn't willpower, man. It was your why, your reason why, and determination to get there. That's all it is. My first stat coach, Elise, always said there's no such thing as willpower.
There really isn't, because on that day I was fed up. It was just, I don't know what it was. It wasn't a holiday. It wasn't, I just woke up, looked at my wife, and I was like, I'm 10 months in. I'm done. I feel like there's still so much runway in front of me for what I still need to accomplish that there's no end in sight. See, I respect everyone's weight loss, 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 50 pounds. It's all the same struggle to me. Mm-hmm. But when it's over 150 pounds, when it's over 200 pounds, when it's over 300 pounds, like Dave's journey is, it's so daunting. Sometimes there's multiple days where you feel like there's no end in sight. And it just so happened to be that day I had logged on to the HMR forum and I heard about a man who seems to be my same age, roughly about the same age, somewhere in the country that I've never been to, heard of, and he's trucking, he's kicking butt and taking names. And I just looked at my wife and I remember the day I looked at her and I said, look, this man has lost almost 300 pounds and there's not one complaint on this post. It literally changed my entire day. I felt like I messaged you that day. I felt like I've known you since that day, and I haven't stopped talking about you to complete strangers since that day. Period.
Gosh, Shane, I didn't know I needed to bring tissues to this event.
And he's been one of the ones inspiring me too, because I've seen him on the videos here. I've seen his posts, and he's just, you're just so charismatic and outgoing, and the compassion you have for others is inspiring too, man. It's been it's been pretty awesome getting to know you, and I'm glad we got to see each other here. But it's a journey, man. It really is, and the people who don't go through it don't understand it. One of the and we mentioned this a little on Monday when we were talking our pre-call. One of the hardest things for me has always been when if someone asks me about, oh my God, you lost that much weight, how have you done it? And you start telling them, and then they say to you, I could never do that.
Yeah.
And it used to kind of be like almost make me angry, you know. And then I thought, you know what? Nope, they just can't do it. You know why? Because you decided you couldn't just by that. You got to stop saying things to yourself, to others, like that stuff. That kind of negative speech just steers you away from what you really want to do and what you want for yourself. And you need to think more positively and aim direction. My mother, years ago, and I should have listened to her, said, you know, our thoughts form our reality. And in a way, they really do, you know, because if you change the way you think about things, about you, about food, about exercise. I used to hate the idea of exercise. Now I love it. You know, fruits and vegetables. Now I love it. What's next? Bring it on, you know?
You're like, bring it on, Dave.
It's like we decide something isn't for us, and then we have a chance to experience it. Oisin, I guess I'll let you be the president of Dan's fan club as long as I can be the VP.
I'm ready.
Hey, I got to be in there too, you guys. Treasure, you know, Fink mail, something.
There's something to be said about, you know, not only having progress throughout this process yourself. And again, it doesn't matter how much, it doesn't have to be the weight loss Dave and I have had. It really doesn't. If you've lost 10 pounds and you find a way to look back and pull somebody up with you, that's only going to help you. I fully believe that Dave has helped me, and I hope in turn I've helped other people. It really is a cycle here, and the community is incredible.
It also helps with your because we all have stress and struggles in our lives and our jobs and all, and it really helps helping somebody else in general with this, and kind of answer some of their questions, try to give them another way of looking at things when they're running into problems, because you that just the act of helping someone else and maybe it saves them a little struggle, kind of takes a little stress off of you and turns it into something more positive. And I think it's really healthy. So it's one of the reasons why I try to do that, you know, I try to at least once a day get in there and read people's posts and, you know, comment on them and stuff.
Paying it forward now. Okay, so we have Dave here, we have Oisin here, and you guys are now in very similar stages of your journey with HMR. So we have to hear from both of you about phase 2, because you're now both in phase 2, like the next part of your journey. So let's start there. And are you okay to stay with us, Oisin?
Sure. Yeah.
For a little bit. Okay, so we definitely, because as you guys can imagine, you know, phase 2, you know, this is the part that people are scared to death about, right? So how are you guys feeling it? I know you both had experience with, you know, doing other things in the past. You know, have this HMR experience. You've been very successful. So Oisin, you talk, how long have you been in phase 2?
Since February 1st. So a couple of weeks now. Yeah.
Okay. So what were you, as you were approaching, like knowing this was the next step, what were you feeling?
My coach Gina will tell everybody petrified is a good word, in a very healthy way. You know, when you've battled weight loss issues your entire life, you know what it's like and how heartbreaking it is to lose weight and how long it takes. And then how quickly, if you make the wrong decisions or get into the wrong mindset, you know, and you're just not forgiving of yourself, or you're not realistic, you know, again, you can make a lot of mistakes, right? So for me, I was just worried about making mistakes. And at this point, I felt like I had put a lot of pressure on myself. There was a lot of people, I felt like the community itself, I felt like I was embedded in it. There was people watching that I was depending on, invested in me. I didn't want to disappoint anybody. So you put a lot of pressure on yourself. I think it's important to know when you start phase 2 that it's okay to be scared. It's also okay to know that, you know, one of my favorite people in the program, a longtime member who's had long-term success, Ava, in my program, you know, she always says, keep one foot in phase 1. So for me, when she told me that, and she said she still has days where she just does all shakes, I was just like, wow, like it didn't even dawn on me that taking a step back is okay, because this is life. This is real life. Is every day perfect? Absolutely not. You have a lot more food options. So for me, what's helped so far is a lot of planning and baby steps. I'm like Dave in the sense that I don't need a ton of variety. So what I decided, again, this is just my plan, works for me. When I started phase one, I told my coach, Gina, I said, Gina, why don't we come up with a menu that works, breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacks. And I want to keep that same exact menu for 30 days.
Wow.
30 days seems like a long time, but when you've done just shakes for an entire year prior to that, 30 days is
it's a miracle is what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
At that point, it's like, we can do
exactly,
this. No
You can do
problem.
anything.
Yeah, and I get my variety in those 30 days by switching broccoli for cauliflower, by switching carrots for asparagus, or you know what I mean. I definitely subscribe to more is better with shakes, vegetables for sure. I am like Dave. I'm definitely not a culinary expert. Throw some spices, roast some vegetables, and I'm a happy guy. So simple baby steps, definitely baby steps. Even things that are healthy, like you can find snacks that are packaged that are healthy. For example, I'll give you one example that came up that my coach told me to steer away from for right now. Kale chips, right? You can think of worse snacks than kale chips or unsalted cashews or things like that. But snacking in itself is a skill. It's a skill that I want to progress to eventually. Do I think that I'll never eat some of these things again in my life? That's not real life. HMR is real life.
Yeah.
But going there slowly is more important.
Yeah, you hit it, like in keeping a lot of the concepts from phase one, doing it very slowly as you're learning and building your new skills is very important. And so, Dave, I have to hear, how long have you been in phase two now? Because we've seen your recipes.
Like right after January. It was a couple weeks before Sheen started.
Oh, wow.
We did it, and we've been doing a kind of a slow transition into it because it just started with replacing 2 entrees with lean proteins a week, and then 4 after a couple weeks, and then 6, and we're up to 11 now. It so but we're still doing the four of our shakes. We're just replacing entrees.
Wow.
And not all of us in my phase 2 class are at our goal weights. Like I'm still trying to lose a little bit more. But the fate it's, so most of us are still trying to lose, so we're not introducing grains or anything like that yet. That's later. But it's been easy for me because I've found simple things, like you said too, Asheen. Just keep it simple. And because my current coach Lydia, she was like, maybe you should think about adding some variety so you don't get bored. I said I didn't get bored doing phase one for two years or more. I'm pretty sure I'm good to go here. Plus, keeping it simple for me works for me, and I'm still trying to lose weight, so it helps me keep focus and keep everything. I just got to make this or prep this and just get it done. And that works for me,
There's this misconception in our culture that I can lose weight doing something and then yay, I can go back to what I was doing before and just sail into the sunset.
Just to prove that more is better. Here, I eat more food in quantity of food now than I ever have in my entire life.
Wow.
I'm eating every 2 to 3 hours something. Bulk wise, I'm eating more. I used to be a grazer, but everything I ate was the wrong stuff. It was the high carb, high fat, low nutrition food, or highly processed stuff. And now everything is either, if it's not HMR product, it's it's something, like Laura's Lean Burgers, 96% fat-free ground beef. I love that. Ground turkey, I love. I never thought I'd be saying I love ground turkey. But my little Foreman grill's been getting a lot of use lately.
Yeah.
And I did shrimp last night for the first time.
Oh, how was that?
It was okay.
Oh, I saw you post recently. Maybe I will try fish.
Yeah.
Yes. So you're branching out there.
Yeah,
and so when you guys think about how long you all practiced the other behaviors and had those habits established, and you all have been with us for some time, but it can be so easy to fall back into those old habits. And so that's why it is so important to go slow with introducing these new foods, as well as keeping a lot of that structure that has worked so well for us in place. We always have that to go back to. And phase 2, you can really still lose weight. If you ever need to periodically go back into phase 1, you can absolutely do that. You can utilize the program however you need to stay where you want to stay. So what have been some things that you guys have really been enjoying about phase 2? Favorite meal, maybe lean protein.
I have to say something because my wife's, I saw her comment about this once before. She wanted you to ask me about my bar thing. Okay. Speaking of the fact that there is no such thing as willpower, there's a reason why at phase 1, and I don't know if you guys do this ever at all the HMR places, but they limit in phase 1, at least on decision free, you're getting no more than 14 bars per week in your order, because otherwise you will eat all bars, people. You will.
They're so good.
I love the bars. I would have my 2 bars. I was to a point, I would get my bars and they would be going in 3 days.
Yeah.
So all my bars would be in the first 3 days, and I wouldn't have any till it would be like an addiction with going through withdrawal. I miss my bars. And now I get 2 bars when I pick up my order, and that's it. And they're shamefully going that day. But I do that because I know if I have them, that's 170 calories. I could have something else that actually I want more. So,
and we all have those things.
And I know that you guys are going to share a couple recipes. I just wanted to reiterate, Coach Sandy wrote, I do a lot of phase 1 days and phase 2 to manage calories. It's just a no-brainer for me to have a low-cal day. And in phase 2, we do have the occasional guaranteed higher calorie day. And if you're looking to lose weight or maintain weight, you do need to have the lower calorie days. That's where the phase 1 days are great.
Yeah. For me personally, my coach, I've been telling my coach Gina, like the last 3 or 4 weeks, once a week, I've gotten into a weird little habit where I love doing an all shake day.
Wow.
And it's by choice because I make cakes with the shake. I make shakes with them. I make, I make ice creams with them, puddings with them. So for me all day, to Dave's point, it feels like dessert. Like I have to explain to my 4-year-old that it's not dessert for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, even though it
looks like it.
It's dessert.
Right.
Let's just be honest.
Right. And for me, what I found is that resets me, right? Like your body, you have to be very forgiving on your body. There's water weight. There's things that happen throughout the week. Like you might have exercised a lot. You might have retained some fluid. For me, I just like that all shake day because it resets my brain. It makes those vegetables seem like they taste that much better the following Monday. But favorite meals so far is definitely got to be a pasta. I use the pasta fagioli, and I make a pasta salad out of it. So I put it cold. I put tomatoes, cucumbers, onions, Brussels sprouts, coleslaw, and I put a little olive oil and red wine vinegar, throw it in the fridge for a couple hours.
That sounds delicious.
It's a good time. And it's a lot of volume. I think to Dave's point, you really got to know what type of eater you are. And for me, my wife can have a tiny bit of something and she's satisfied, and she'd rather have, she's the type of person that would do well with the bars. She likes 1 bar and it's worth it for her to have that. For me, if I can't have the box of bars, I'm good. I'd rather have a gigantic bowl of vegetables. I'm a volume eater, and it's taken me this whole process to learn what type of eater I am and what I enjoy.
And do you eat your delicious entree cold?
I do eat them cold, although I've been told to call them room temperature. So.
Yes, exactly, room temperature. Yeah. But your pasta fagioli, I want to make the recipe.
Yeah, so I do. I very much put it in cold. I put it in the fridge, and my coach Gina gave us that recipe in our Sunday newsletter.
Thank you.
I will have to get that from her. I'm not sure if you know this or not, but Kate and I are actually in group with Coach Gina.
Yeah,
she's in our group.
Yes, we are.
So it's like full circle, right? Like we're all
share it on Tuesday.
She's a saint. She really puts up with my nonsense. She's awesome.
All right. So definitely what I'm hearing is importance of keeping phase 1 routines in place, taking this transition slow, being open to trusting the program and giving yourself time, because you're creating these new lifelong behaviors. It's not just a quick fix. We're all going to be work in progresses for the rest of our lives. And that it's nice to always have something you can come back to, because it happens. Life happens.
For sure.
So really exciting to hear your stories. And it's been so great, O'Shane, to have you joining us, and having to acknowledge Dave and just show him some love, and how he's inspired you. Both inspired each other, it sounds like. So it's a really an incredible part of our community that we have here.
Yeah, for sure. I want to give the spotlight right back to you, Dave, because this is your night. But I would be remiss if I let this night go by without, like I said, giving you your roses, sir. You are not only changing your own life, but you're setting an example for young, old, new, tenured folks in the program. You're changing people's lives as much as you're changing your own night, and I salute you, sir.
Yeah, and I hope if I can just help one person, that's all that matters. You
already got one, so there's plenty more viewing. But
yeah, and there's plenty more in the feed. You got to read the comments after.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
All right, well, thank you, O'Shane.
Thanks, guys. It was a pleasure. Dave, I'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon, man.
Yeah.
All right, so we definitely need to start bringing this home. We could talk all night with you, Dave,
and
your successes. And so I know that we've talked a lot about the benefits, and I know your wife has, shared some of the benefits and how you've impacted and what had to change to do this and be so successful. So as you're thinking about all the benefits, the weight loss is a big one, but it goes beyond just the weight that's on the scale that you've lost. What would you say are your top 1 or 2 quality of life improvements, benefits that you've really got from this healthier lifestyle and losing this weight?
Here's an odd one. The day I realized I was putting socks and shoes on, and I was doing it while hopping on one foot, cross half Indian style on one foot, putting socks on. When I could do that and not fall over and kill myself, I was like, did I just do that? Wow. But it's like I have a little skip and a little bounce in my step now. And I'm always walking fast. I mean, always fast. I went for a short little walk before our call tonight, and I literally was just just going.
That's amazing.
But yeah, I just a freedom of movement I haven't had my entire adult life, since I was a kid.
Wow.
Yeah. And it sounds like you don't feel like you're held back at all. Like you take on challenges now without even thinking.
My knees don't hurt. My back doesn't hurt anymore. The only downside of anything is the loose skin, and that's my own fault for letting the weight get put on. It has nothing to do with the diet and losing. It has to do with the fact that I let my skin get stretched out that much from being 524 pounds. So it's. Other than that, everything's been up and up and positive.
Amazing.
My mental depression, kind of dealt with depression issues in the past. And, I won't say that I don't have bad days like everyone,
of course.
but it's not ongoing chronic depression like I was in. And so I'm much more positive, upbeat and about things. And just, I'm trying to do a little better every day. Because you can only do what you can do. Focus on what you can change and what you can control, and let the rest take care of itself until you're able to take care of it.
It's like your whole outlook and your future is just drastically different. I need to share one funny thing that you told us, Dave, that when you reach your goal weight, there might be a
What's that?
A haircut.
Oh, yes.
Where are you at with that decision, Dave?
So actually, it was when I hit my initial goal, which my initial goal was when I was going to switch to phase 2, which is when I hit 230 pounds, which I've already obviously passed.
You already hit it.
I was supposed to get this cut off. This has been growing for about 6 months longer than I've been in HMR. And it honestly didn't get cut initially because I was heavy, and it was just, kind of a pain in the butt to go anywhere then. And now obviously it got delayed because of, things with COVID, but
Well, your wife, she's already mentioned in it.
I'm donating this, actually.
In that you're going to donate it. We were thinking maybe she could come in and cut it off. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't say that. She'll be in here in a second with scissors.
She's going to come chop, chop. All right. So, Kate, do you want to bring us home?
Yes, we could chat all night.
Yes.
This has been as amazing as I expected it would be.
Mm-hmm.
It's been incredible, Dave, to follow your journey. And I have been following you for months. And we had a chance this evening to get to know you even better, to see your before pictures, which look nothing like you, to hear a little bit about your simple and yet delicious recipes, and just to thank you for your amazing inspiration. As you had said to us, if I can make a difference for one person, this night will have been worth my time. And I have no doubt you have touched countless. You're going to need to spend some time in this feed seeing the love for Dave. And
your wife is going to be coming in to get, she has the scissors. She's going to be coming in.
Oh boy.
I do ask folks watching, if you know anyone who would be interested in the program, please share this video. We would love for them to have a chance to see it. Wishing everyone a wonderful week, and we'll be back at it next Thursday evening.
Yeah, and Dave, thank you so much for letting us share your journey and being here with us. And thank you, everybody, for being here. So we'll be back next Thursday. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.